Don't you worry, the clip's about to begin, but don't forget to subscribe. Or else, don't make me turn this website around.
So, is that Chelsea? Can you hear us?
Yes, I've been on with you before.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing good. Hey,
Hi.
hey, Prophet too. I was on with Katy. That's why I'm saying hey to her first.
Hi.
But hey, how are both y'all?
Good, thanks. What's your question today?
All right. I have a friend that I feel that is I'm going to butcher this word, okay? So bear with me. Susceptible to QAnon. I've talked about it very briefly. I mean, extremely briefly with her. And her response was, anything could happen. But then I was like, I told her I was concerned. And then she's like, well, it's whatever. And she kind of just dropped it right there. And I dropped it too because I didn't want to, and I didn't know how to handle it. But I'm worried. I'm worried that my friend might fall into this. So I was wondering how I could handle it, or prevent her from going further into it.
So, do you think this? So it says in the call notes that your friend is a Christian. Do you think this is related to like her belief in Christianity, or do you think that's just a coincidence? Does this tie in? Because I know for a lot of people that it can tie in, and that sort of becomes part of the same thing.
I think it's related.
I guess.
What?
Sorry, I was just saying, I guess how I would approach anyone who believes in these things is trying to ask them how do they parse most things and decide whether the belief is in something that's true or false. Like, they're reading these things on the internet. They could read anything on the internet. How do they decide which ones are true and which ones are false? And then hopefully you'll get to this thing where they'll have to say that, they can only decide something's true based on evidence. Though I guess if it's tied in with their religion.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that she's literally told me that Christianity is the only thing keeping her together and keeping her in this world, And I can actually visibly see that, like, in her. Like, as far as, because I think she would be hopeless without it. And so that's why I'm so hesitant to even talk to her about it. That's why I'm so afraid to even talk about religion.
Yeah, I understand.
Even though I know it's a really sensitive subject for most people anyway. But I'm just saying that I don't want her to fall for this QAnon stuff is all. And that I'm afraid that, she'll... Anyway, that's... I just wanted to
one thing
put that out there because...
one thing I was going to add is sometimes trying to tackle like someone's entire belief system where it's all intermingled and stuff is very difficult. And also if, they're in an emotionally vulnerable place, it can be, I guess, dangerous. I don't know. But you might be able to just steer her away from the worst of it, at least to start with, by like trying to find something in her religion which conflicts with QAnon. Like, how can someone who believes in, the virtues of, the good stuff that Jesus has done, how can they support Donald Trump, who's like the absolute opposite of that? And you might be able to kind of sell on the idea of it's Christianity or QAnon. But I'm not enough of an expert on converting people to Christianity to maybe make strong arguments for Christianity as to why it doesn't conflict, why it conflicts with QAnon.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's got to be some things in there that do, because QAnon's pretty off the wall. Do you have any ideas, Zod?
How about you?
Yeah, it's tough. I've seen a lot of people I know who I grew up with as Christians start to fall into this stuff. And it's hard. I always say that I'm a little torn over whether they're starting to get a little crazier over time and QAnon's making everybody crazier, or if everybody kind of had this seed of belief in them and people were weirder than I thought and I drifted away. It's hard to tell. But I am really, I'm in a similar position with you, not in a close one-on-one conversation with a friend, but in seeing a lot of people over Facebook or other social media who I've grown up with fall into this stuff. And it's a hard thing to tackle because they have an answer for everything, basically. It's not a good answer, but they have some way to cover their tracks, and essentially any source you can cite or any bit of information you can bring up, they can simply call it fake news or, say it's the liberal media. There's always some way to cover their tracks and account for anything you bring up. So it really is difficult. I guess one thing I would ask is, I think a lot of this is in the specifics, and maybe you said your friend isn't necessarily completely immersed in this, but I've started to get into it. So would you be able to relay what the friend has said so far? Like what kinds of specific ideas they've brought up?
They haven't brought any ideas to it. I did ask, all I did was just ask her, like when this was like back in December when QAnon stuff, like we don't hang out that often, but we're very good friends. The only reason we don't hang out that often is because, we're adults. But, that's a different subject. Off topic. Shoot. Sorry, help me out here.
Just saying about what ideas of QAnon, like what's given you the idea that they're getting into QAnon? What sort of red flags have they been saying? What ideas have they presented?
Because I think that it's kind of hard to gauge. I worry for her because, as I said, Christianity is the only thing keeping her together and keeping her in this world, like living, literally. So, because I know that she would feel helpless without it.
Yeah,
so I guess if I
like that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I guess speaking in generalities, I think one of the best things you can do, it depends on the level of concern you have for this person and how natural it would be for you to be in a lot of conversation with them. I think you can very rarely just step right up to somebody and hit the topic head on cold in a conversation, take a confrontational approach and just tearing down what they believe. I think a lot of these kinds of conspiracy theories people are drawn to them because it appeals to something they like, something they find interesting, or some emotion. At the core, it's emotional. A lot of times it's ugly emotions towards certain people, but there's something in them that wants to believe that. By the time you're getting into that, it's what you want to believe, not what any kind of evidence really leads you to. You're very rarely going to find a QAnon supporter digging to the bottom of a conspiracy and finding that the Republicans were responsible for something and Donald Trump. It always leads to where they want to go to begin with.
Yeah.
So a lot of this, I think, needs to be approached on an emotional level, not manipulatively, but just relationally. Just put yourself out there and show who you are. If you have the time to devote to regular conversation, do that. Just be your authentic self with the person and let yourself be relatable. And then in very gentle, careful ways, don't tackle QAnon or Christianity head on, but just be who you are and let your personal ideas shine through. And hopefully they'll see the lucidity of that and how what you say makes sense. And hopefully, if they think they need Christianity, something there is clearly missing or being misunderstood in their lives, I think. Would you agree with that?
Hello?
Hi.
You there?
Did you hear that? We're still here.
Hello?
Can you still hear us?
Hello, Chelsea?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
What happened? It went blank.
So I was gone for a little while?
Do what?
So
did you hear all of Todd's explanation?
One at a time, please.
Katie, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, did you hear all of Zod's explanation, like which part got cut off. But I guess what I can sort of reiterate and add to it about
Just the last part.
the reason sometimes that people sort of fall into these conspiracy theories or cults is because there is something missing and they're looking for, and it's often community or a sense of purpose. And that is something that can also keep people in religions. And like you say, your friend maybe is susceptible to QAnon and they're really sort of in a bad place in their life where Christianity is the only thing keeping them going. Just by showing them that you as a person can be someone who is happy and fulfilled without those things can be very reassuring. You can be like a role model and just say, I have a great life and I have a purpose and I am comfortable and I don't need those things. And it's fine if you want to have them, but just know you don't need them. And you could even show other examples of successful people who are happy and content in their life and who have a purpose that they've made for themselves that they're happy with. And it might sort of take away this feeling of desperation, like, this is all I have. I need QAnon. I need the church because that's all I have. Like certainly with community, I don't know how many friends and family your friend has around them, but it can be very isolating. I mean, in lockdown, it can be isolating anyway, but it can be isolating if all of your friends and family are part of the church or even into QAnon. And it might be good to sort of introduce them to new friend groups or like get them into a new hobby or something. I don't know, just trying to give someone like
they don't have much
feel.
time for a hobby.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know.
They're that busy.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the time.
That's why, like I said, so we don't hang out but that often.
Yeah. I think to make much impact, in my opinion, it does take some time to chip away at this. And part of this is going to be, you might just have to resign yourself to the fact that there's not a lot you can do if you don't have a lot of time to devote to this person relationally. It doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount of time, and maybe it can just be in passing in and out of their life. But I would say, in my personal experience, I think one of the best things I can do with Christians around me is just be there and be a normal person. And I would say being argumentative is one of the worst tacks you can take, because then you're just validating their opinion of what an atheist is like or what somebody on the conspiracy is like. And you're attacking them just like the media and all these other people are attacking them, because they've built a fortress around themselves and they're expecting to be attacked. So when you do that, you're part of their narrative. So without being manipulative, just be yourself and be friendly with them. Show that you're a sensible person. You can interject on these little things in very unobtrusive ways that isn't necessarily attacking them, but just articulate why you think certain things. And hopefully that gives them another perspective and helps them see that you're a normal, smart, well-adjusted person, and not everybody outside their little conspiracy bubble is attacking them and is a bad guy.
Yeah.
But it's a big thing to tackle.
I'm worried. I'm really worried for her, because she helped me through my transition. Helped me to go to my consultation for surgery, and that's a big, thing for me. And I very much appreciate her doing that. She didn't have to do that. She took time out of her schedule. So I mean, she means a lot to me. So even if we don't hang out that often, because she's so busy.
Being like, sounds like you're concerned for your friend, and sometimes just showing someone that you're thinking about them and you are concerned for them, even if you don't have time. Write a message just saying, I'm thinking about you, and I'm there for you because I think you're there for me. Even that kind of thing, just showing your friend that you're, like Zod says, normal and well adjusted. Whether that's true or not, you can make that decision, but normal enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that helps. We might move on to some other callers, but is there any one last thing you'd like to add?
That helped out a lot.
Okay, good.
Do what?
That's good to hear. No, that's good to hear.
And if I could add one thing really quick, I know you want to move on, Katie, but Chelsea, if I could say one last thing, it'd be come to some level of peace with this person believing certain things and realize you can't control it. Because as concerned as you are, the more you feel like you need to control, I think the more agitated inside you'll get, not necessarily angry, but you'll feel worried like you need to do something. And I think that person is going to feel that. And so I think you need to let them just be who they are, feed into them the best you can, but just, I know it's terrible, and I don't want to say just let it go and let them believe whatever, but be okay with the fact that they're going to slide to some extent or another, and let that happen so that you can just fluidly enter the conversation and let it be natural versus forced. So I guess that's the last thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks for calling in, Chelsea.
Thanks,
I'm glad that we could help a little bit.
I appreciate it a
And
lot.
good luck with your friend.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right.
Hey, thanks for checking out this clip for The Line. While you're here, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then share this with that bitter uncle of yours who loves talking about the good old days.